Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is vowing to complete his mission to defeat Hamas regardless of ceasefire talks. In Tel Aviv, Israelis...
If this was a conservative lighting himself, a great take. Where is that guy? You don't need to ban him like that quickly. Hasan fan 69420 on a burner account comes in here and says this laughable take. Account created 12 minutes ago, following says account created 13 minutes ago, following says 12 minutes ago. He says, if this was a conservative lighting himself on fire for pro-life or the border, you would laugh and make memes. So you're saying that, like, yes, you think that Israel's ethnic cleansing and genocidal campaign is actually good and protesting is bad. Is that what you're saying? Because yes, a conservative lighting himself on fire for pro-life or the border would be someone doing something that is completely ridiculous for a ridiculous cause. Especially because, for two reasons. One, because I'm pro-Palestine. I believe that Israel, I know, because this is factually accurate, that Israel is an apartheid state. I know that Israel is engaging in an act of ethnic cleansing. And I think that it is unjustifiable and that the American government is complicit in said acts. Those are my values. I, on the other hand, think that the pro-life movement is ridiculous, fundamentalist, and also restrictive because it seeks to stop women from engaging in a medical decision that should be left to themselves. It is a way to deny them bodily autonomy. As far as the border goes, okay, to protest the border, once again, I think that America's militarism at its border demonstrates that we are falling. Demonstrates that our values are not about actually saving people, but instead continuously hurting them for the interest of capital owners, so that we can have a two-tiered migration structure, so we can have a two-tiered labor system, so that we can have a constant churn of undocumented citizens that we can push through the meat grinder. This actually ends up hurting documented and natural U.S. citizens as well that also seek gainful employment in that same labor structure, but that's too difficult for many to understand. So yes, there is a difference between good things and bad things. That's number one. But number two, both of the things that you just mentioned are things that the American government is doing. So you would be killing yourself in that circumstance to what? Do more of the things that the American government is doing? If a protester also immolated themselves outside of, I guess, the Palestinian embassy, which doesn't exist, by the way. Think about that for a second. Okay, but if a protester self-immolated outside of the White House, let's say, because they were upset that America wasn't sending enough HIMARS or something, or enough rockets, enough MK-84 missiles, so that they can engage in even more baby murder of Palestinians, that would be a laughable form of protest. Do you understand? Perhaps you didn't do a role reversal accurately in this situation because even you personally understand how fucking ridiculous that would be. Why? Why would that be ridiculous? Because America is already doing this. You protest against the unjustifiable hierarchies that the American government is contributing to. You don't protest for that. You don't have to protest for that. The government is doing that anyway. It would be ridiculous to protest for the status quo, which is why when the Israeli protests happened, the pro-Israel protests happened, it was ridiculous. But once again, this is not about Aaron. This is about Palestinians.
These protesting against Netanyahu's handling of the war were dispersed. You see it there by a police water cannon over the weekend. Now, all this comes as Palestinians in the Gaza city of Rafah brace for a possible ground assault by the Israeli army. Holly Williams has more on that part of the story.
In the ruins of Gaza City, stalked by hunger and fear, Some have
Like,
reached
yeah, imagine self-immolating to be like, I want more of this, actually. Why are they alive? How do you think the media would have covered the situation if he did it for Israel's campaign instead? I mean, I don't know, but they would. I doubt that they would be critical of it. They would probably have more positive coverage over it, most likely. But I don't know. It's a hypothetical situation. I don't really care. I don't really give a shit. What I can tell you, however, is to show you examples of instances where other people have engaged in a just cause, if you will, against foreign adversaries, governments that are declared foreign adversaries. The self-immolation of the Russian journalist is a clear-cut example of how there is a double standard in this coverage. The Russian journalist was engaging in a self-immolation for a just cause to protest Vladimir Putin's repressive administration. Vladimir Putin is a foreign adversary. Sometimes, even though America is the big bad, America can be against other countries also doing big bad shit. So, in a situation like that, you get clear-cut coverage.
breaking point. I wish my children were dead so they couldn't ask me for bread. I cannot feed my own children, shouts this man. But on Face the Nation yesterday, Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said he's determined to launch an offensive in Rafah in southern Gaza, where around 1.5 million Palestinians are now sheltering.
We can't leave a quarter of Hamas battalions in Rafah and say, well, that's fine. Total victory is our goal, and total victory is within reach. Not months away, weeks away, once we begin the operation.
But the price of Israel's total victory is being paid not just by Hamas, but by Palestinian civilians. Mohammed Al-Farah is a Palestinian journalist who lives in the West Bank. He told us his sister Simat, her husband and 3 daughters were killed by an Israeli airstrike in Gaza in October. This is the moment he heard the news.
Were you able to recover her remains after the airstrike?
We found the bodies of my sister and brother-in-law, he told us. But we couldn't recognize the children's faces.
Israel says it has a plan to evacuate civilians from Rafah. Now, that ceasefire deal being negotiated could reportedly see a 6-week pause in fighting and the release of dozens of hostages in return for hundreds of Palestinian prisoners. Gail.
Details tough to hear. These are human lives we're talking about. Never forget that. Thank you, Holly Williams, reporting from Israel.
A Navy vet here. What can we do to get a petition going to get that brave airman a Medal of Honor? That's never going to happen. Don't even try. There's no reason. It's just, keep Aaron in your thoughts and remember his message and keep applying pressure to our government to cease its endless support to Israel. But beyond that, you will never have an official organ of the government end up giving a medal to a service member, an active duty service member, an airman that self-immolated against the very same military that is aiding and abetting in the genocidal actions. And if you even mention such things, you will be most likely put on a watch list. So,
welcome back. In a Fox News alert, the Prime Minister.
Netanyahu fires back at Biden and Newsom.
Work with them.
Asked about U.S. leverage to influence Israel's actions, said the State Department spokesperson, Matt Miller. Here's what his words were.
How to achieve that vision.
But you have so many tools. Just my last follow-up, sorry. But you have so much leverage over the Israelis. And this is fundamental vision of the president. So you can use all the leverage you want, including weapons that you sell to Israel, to make sure that this plan is at least on the right path for implementation, considering we have like short time between now and November.
So one thing I will say about that people often tend to forget is that Israel, like other countries in the region, is a sovereign country that makes its own decisions. The United States.
That's so crazy. We're just small bean, dude. We're just a small bean. Israel is small bean, but so are we in many ways. You know what I mean? We have no power in this circumstance, which is why we're sending a $14 billion fucking weapons package. Just, you know, we can't do anything to stop them, which is why we're aiding and abetting the continuation of the ethnic cleansing. It is total and utter bullshit. Anyone that believes this is the dumbest person I have ever seen in my entire fucking life.
It does not dictate to Israel what it must do, just as we don't dictate to any country what it must do.
We are dictating what Israel is doing. We're telling them, keep going. Go off kings and queens and the emperors. Please. Please keep killing Palestinians. That's what we're saying when we send them more military aid.
We present what we believe
Hasan, is the weapon pack for Palestine or Iran in the future? They masquerade it as though it's for self-defense. While Israel depletes its self-defense resources by self-defending themselves against Palestine, we're replenishing their depleted resources, and we're aiding and abetting their genocidal actions like that. It's fucking bullshit. Please, the reason why I don't even cover that aspect of it is because it's bullshit. That's all it is. It is a way to try and massage the narrative to make it more morally permissible for those who already have that inclination, who already have that motivated reasoning to believe that Israel is infallible and doing the right thing.
We believe is a sovereign country that makes its own decisions. The United States does not dictate to Israel what it must do, just as we don't dictate to any country what it must do. We present what we believe we believe are the
What did he say? And Matt Lee replies, unless we invade them.
Good one, Matt.
It's funny because, like, the journalists there are doing a good job, right? They can get a gallows humor laughter out of it, but you can't, Matt Miller, because the reality is we do that, and you do defend it. So
we present, no, I mean, but come on, yeah.
Oh, come on, yeah. Yeah, I doubt that Matt Lee was laughing when he said it too. Here's some interesting news as well.
What Secretary said in Buenos Aires on Friday, he said the Israeli settlements are inconsistent with international law. So I'm wondering why it took the administration 3 years to sort of make that point. Was that something that you guys believed at the beginning of the administration and somehow decided to wait? You landed at this decision just last week.
So I'll say two things. From a policy point of view, we have always been clear that we believe settlements are a barrier to peace and that they weaken, not strengthen, Israel's security and position in the region. As a legal question, excuse me, I still have this cough. I've had it for a week or so now. As a legal question, it is something that had been under review here at the department for some time. And as you know, the Secretary over the last several months has embarked on a process to try to ensure lasting peace in the region, to establish an independent Palestinian state. And we thought, as we were engaged in that important process, it was important to avoid any ambiguity about the U.S. position on this matter. And so that's why he made the announcement he did on Friday.
Right.
I mean, yeah, his job is to fucking lie. That's all he does. All right. I'm gonna skip Netanyahu. I don't want to see his fucking disgusting little face. U.S. and UK have launched a new round of joint strikes against Houthi militants. Obviously, you have any reactions to Aaron Bushnell's act of self-immolation? Humanity knows no religion or homeland. May God have mercy on him and accept him as a martyr along with all the martyrs of Gaza. Shame and shame on the Arabs and Muslims and countries other than Yemen who did not go out in demonstrations. Why does America pretend to want an independent Palestine? Aesthetics. In the rule-based international order, you have to at least present a honest front that you care about a violation of rules. Israel's entire existence revolves around a clear-cut violation of the rule-based international order, of course. It is not something that I think is even unclear remotely. It's just pretty obvious. Not just past, like, this past ethnic cleansing campaign is not, I mean, it's more severe than previous ones, but it's, you know, even before that, on October 6th, Israel was still an apartheid state.